Hello, I am Lori Peterson and I am your student's math teacher this year. I emailed out a flyer that's a very brief synopsis of the math class that your student is in. Now it has everyone's information because I do teach multiple math classes. This is just a more in-depth explanation of each class. This is broken down for all of my classes, so you're going to hear information that maybe doesn't apply to your student. Please only pay attention to what is relevant for you. So this is just a little snippet of actually what was on our flyer that I emailed out, just a little information about me. I did recently get married, and so I do go by Mrs. Peterson at school. But when you email me, you'll notice that my email is still Horner. It does take a little bit of time to get my email changed with our district. So for now, please email me at Laura.Horner@d11.org. Email, let me talk about that for just a moment. I do reply very quickly if I do get an email that is after 4 p.m. or on the weekend. I will reply on the next day I'm back in school. So if it's over the weekend, I'll reply back on a Monday. After 4 p.m. On a weekday, I'll reply the next day in the morning. So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't check my email when I'm at home or on the weekends. Okay, let's talk about a regular math class first. So that would be my fifth period. If your student is in fifth period, then this is what you want to pay attention to. I put a picture of the textbook that we use. Now, your students know that this is just a reference. I do a lot of stuff in class with them, and it's only sometimes that I'm going to have them pull out their textbooks. But it's a great resource to look at home. It's a great studying tool. It has extra practice problems. Homework is not usually out of our textbook. I do use a website called Delta Math. Your students may have used it last year. That's where all of our homework comes from, minus a couple that I make on Schoology. Homework overall and classwork is 25% of the overall grade, and assessments are 75%. That is an 8th grade math policy, so it's not just me, it is the other two math teachers in the 8th grade that follow this. Because assessments are heavily weighted, we do allow retakes, and I will always take the highest score for a retake. We are going to prepare for a test in a few weeks, and I will email out information about the test and eventually the information about retakes. Overall, for you and your student, Schoology is your best friend. I really do post everything you could possibly want on our Schoology page, from notes to recorded lessons to extra problems. I really want to emphasize the recorded lessons, because if your student is absent, or hopefully not, but if they ever get quarantined this year, they aren't actually missing any class. They can just watch the recordings and stay up to date with all the information they need. On the right-hand side, I have a brief summary of what we're going to be covering this year. We'll talk about geometry. We'll talk about linear equations. We're really going to talk a good chunk of our year is going to be spent preparing your student for Algebra 1 for high school. So we will focus a lot on graphing, a lot on solving equations and functions. And we'll have some brief chapters on exponents and statistics. For homework, they get assigned it every other day. So depending on the week, they might have 2 homework assignments or they might have 3. Homework is due the Monday after it's been assigned. So for example, I assigned homework today, which is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. It's not due until Monday, August 30th by midnight. I do accept late homework for 75% of the grade. That is another 8th grade math policy. We are consistent between teachers. And the last day to turn in homework late, pending any other circumstances that might have been prearranged, would be the Friday after something has been due. So if the original due date is Monday the 30th, then the late day homework would be Friday, September 3rd. And then after that, I would no longer accept it, unless there were other circumstances that we were working on. These are the recommended websites. I did post that on our flyer, so I recommend you take a look at the flyer instead of just having to read this whole screen. Let me move on to my next class that I teach, which is the PreAP Algebra 1. So if your student is in my second period, this is what you want to pay attention to. A lot of the information is similar. Let's talk about the homework and classwork. So homework gets assigned almost every single day for our algebra class. We are learning something new every class period. So when your student is absent or on vacation, it's very, very important for them to watch the recorded lessons also on our Schoology page so that they can stay up to date and they aren't really losing any time in class. Homework overall is 20% of the grade, assessments 80%. Again, this is also another 8th grade math policy. It is consistent for all of our pre-AP classes. And please, Schoology is your best friend too. Just like my regular math class, I post everything you could possibly want to help support your student. That includes notes, the recorded lessons, extra practice problems, reviews, review answers. When we get to test retakes, I'll post information about that. Please take a look, explore that resource. I highly recommend it. Pre-AP, though, this is a tough class because it's very fast-paced. We do learn something new every single day. To give you a rough idea, during first quarter, we are mainly reviewing pre-algebra concepts. So if your student was not in an advanced math class last year, then this is their time to try to fill those gaps that they missed by skipping a year of math. During second quarter is when we will start the brand new material. So please, please, please encourage your student to ask questions at any point they get stuck. They can ask people at home. If they have tutors, they have siblings, they can ask you. But I highly encourage they ask me, classmates, anyone that can help them to make sure that we are not falling behind on the material due to the pace. For this class, this is a high school class. This is actually a freshman level class. And in order for your student to actually get the high school credit, they must maintain a minimum of a C average every quarter. If that does not happen, then we'll be reaching out and we'll have to try and come up with a plan to best support your student. But if your student does not, at the end of the school year, have a C average across all 4 quarters, they will not be getting high school credit. This is true for any pre-AP class, not just Algebra 1. To be successful in this class, that's a lot of information. It literally comes down to please, please, please have your student ask questions at any point they get stuck. Putting in the same amount of effort on day 1 as the last day of school is super important. This, to be successful in class, is really good notes for everyone, no matter what math class you're in. So my regular math class or my algebra class, just making sure everyone's attempting their homework problems, always asking for help. Using your notes when they're doing homework. I do try to gear my notes to help them see similar problems on their homework. For studying for tests, making sure we're reading through our notes, practicing the problems on the reviews, checking our answers. And I highly recommend students retake a test or a quiz if they get lower than a B. If they have a certain grade in mind that they want to reach each quarter, this is a good recommendation. Anything lower than a B and you retake it, you can't do anything worse because I always take the highest score. I'm going to move on to the other types of classes that I teach, which is the fundamental math class for both 8th grade and 7th grade. So if your student is in my 3rd or 6th period, this is the information that you want to pay attention to. With our fundamental math class, I do not assign homework. We do everything in class. So if there's something we don't finish, I do not send it home. So if your student says they have math homework, you might want to have them double check that because we do not ever have math homework. We only do our stuff in class. I am very flexible with this class to make sure we are truly understanding the material that is being taught. On our Schoology page, I do try to provide as many handouts and resources as possible to help your students. In class, we have our binders that we have already set up. I have provided a lot of organizational tools for them, including warm-ups for each day. It is organized per day so they don't have to try to take a piece of paper and separate it themselves. Our notes are always guided notes that are provided by me. Our work problems, independent practice, are templates that I make for them to just help your students stay organized. We will start doing an Ames web test weekly with your students. This is a national test. It's actually nationally normed. It helps provide us some information on the grade level standards. So where is your student at right now and how are they progressing with the material that they are learning? Overall, this is kind of a very brief general plan of what I try to cover, what I'm hoping to cover for both these classes. So we are going to start out this school year with a review of fractions and decimals, and then we'll start to move on to percents, negative numbers, plotting points, and if time is in our favor, I will try to expose your students to as much grade level material as possible. So that would be the 7th grade material and the 8th grade material. I think that is it. So please let me know if you have questions or concerns at any point during the school year. Email is best. If you would prefer to call me, please do. My phone number is on that flyer. But just know I'm here to help support you and your student during this school year. Have a good night.